Students, Sairam. Today we shall begin with lesson number 9 in history, that is changing life part 1. Now so many lessons in history from lesson number 1 to 8 children we have learnt about the economic, social, political progress that was done by India from the ancient medieval age to the modern age. Okay, and that is how after independence India started progressing further. So now in this lesson we'll be further learning about how it also changed the lifestyle of the people, the way of living of the people, and also the thinking, the thoughts of the people were changed accordingly, which ultimately resulted into political and social stability in the country. Okay, so far in the lessons which we have done, we have learnt about the period from the year 1961 to 2000. Now the speed of change in the 20th and the 21st century was very rapid. We find that it was tremendous, was very rapid change had taken place, and because of which in turn the human life also changed rapidly. Things which we found that which were not very easier previously, which could not have been imagined earlier, we find that now it is a part of reality. It has changed totally from to ancient and medieval periods. So we find that previously people were very religious minded, very ritualistic, and so religion was also an important part of person's identity during that time. But now, due to modernization, we find that it has posed some challenges before the religions, and we can see that there are people changing their superstitious belief, their thoughts, and all religions are treated equally. Of course, this was the challenge before all the religions like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and Judaism. Now, who was the one who brought about this kind of a drastic change? Yes, it was Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar who brought about a sea change in our traditional mindset. Now, for bringing about such a drastic change, what was the step taken further by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? Yes, he brought about through the medium of Indian Constitution. So, what was that change was brought about by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? It was through the medium of Indian Constitution. Now, how through the means of Indian Constitution? Yes, we see that in the Constitution, he had given equal status, equal treatment, equal rights to each and every individual in the country. It is because of that we find that people got that confidence and the equal treatment in all over the society. Now, according to our constitution, all Indians are equal before law, and they cannot be discriminated against on the basis of religion, race, caste, gender, or place of birth. So these aspects would not cause any kind of hindrance in the progress of the people in the country. So all citizens, they have the right to freedom of speech and expression. Yes, of course, we can express ourselves, we can talk about certain issues by means of media, by means of newspapers, televisions, okay, and through our writings. So freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. So even everybody has a freedom to assemble peacefully. For example, when any marches are being taken place, or suppose for take an example of Shiva Jayanti or Ganesh Jayanti, wherein Ganesh Chaturthi, wherein people, the Sarvajanik Ganesh Utsav is celebrated. So wherein people come together, assemble together for happily celebrating those festival. Then freedom to form associations, freedom to move, to live and settle down anywhere on Indian territory. So it is the constitution has given that freedom to the people to settle down anywhere in the on the Indian territory, and you can follow any religion and from any part of the country. So of course you can also practice any occupation. Indian citizens living anywhere in India, they enjoy the right to nurture their language, script, and culture. So we find even people settling down in the foreign countries, they still celebrate all our Indian festivals. Okay, and even the foreigners are also enjoying with the tradition and the culture of India. So in this way, it is because of the constitution that we are able to do so. Now these provisions in the constitution, they shook the foundations of the caste system. So people in the ancient and the medieval times, we find that there were caste barriers. People were discriminated on the basis of color, caste and creed. And they were, society was divided into upper class and lower class. So it is because of that the constitution that all this came to an end. It helped to make the practice of vocations running in the family obsolete. So the norms to be followed in the family were nurtured, and also changes became the trend in every field of life. And people started accepting the changes that were taking place in the society. Then you can see in the following box, even when the machines are affected. Now how are the machines affected? For example, just see that during the British era, there were four kinds of compartments in the railway train. So in the railway train, there were four compartments, like how we have first class and second class now. So priorly it was first, second, inter and third class. Okay, and so nominal facilities for the passengers traveling by third class, and the negative attitude towards them was almost a symbol of the Indian social hierarchy. So people who would travel from third class compartment, they were given, and also they were not treated accordingly, and this showed that the people still follow that social hierarchy of upper class, lower class and middle class society. But in 1978 railway budget, Madhu Dandavate put an end to this third class. And so later we had two trains were started which had no class divisions. Okay, means there was no any first, second, third class like this. So which were those trains? That is Sinhagad Express and the Pune Mumbai, on the Pune Mumbai route, and the Gitanjali Express on the Mumbai Kolkata road, wherein there was no class distinction on the in the trains. Okay, so this again gave a picture of giving equal treatment to all the people in the country. Now thus began a series of minor and major changes in the society. So this was again a drastic change to put an end to the caste system, or to the social hierarchy that was followed. Now anyone can go into a restaurant irrespective of his religion, race, caste or gender. Of course, we can move on to any restaurant. Nobody asks you about which caste, color or class you belong to. Yes, and in fact we see boards outside the restaurants. What is that? Welcoming all. Another very significant change during the post-independence period is the right to express opinion against the government. So after the independence period, what we find that people got that freedom of speech and expression, wherein we are able to speak what is right and what is wrong. Earlier there were limits on expressing any opinion against political rulers. So prior it was not so. Now Indian citizens can register their protest against the policies of the government through newspapers, speeches or other media. Now we have our social media, Facebook, Instagram and all, wherein we express our views related to any political issues also, apart from newspapers and televisions. Okay, so in this way we are able to express our views on certain issues. Then now let's see, come back to the institution of the family. Now previously we could see that people lived in joint family system, wherein a male member was the head of the family, and women were not allowed to move out of their houses. They were not educated. So during the pre-independence period, the institution of the family was an important identifying feature of the Indian society, because it was almost known to everyone that in India we follow this joint family system, wherein we have our grandparents, then our brothers, sisters living together. So India was known all over the world as the country of joint families. However, we find that later this was changed further, and so a wave of globalization has now, sorry, wave of globalization has not brought about this change, and it has given an importance to the system of nuclear system. Okay, a nuclear family, wherein now we have only children and parents living together. Very rare, hardly some of you must be having have been living in joint families now. So, what about the social welfare? So, the objective to establish the welfare state has been incorporated in the constitution itself. So, in the constitution itself, the main objective was mention of having social welfare in the country. So, India is the first country in the world to do so. The social welfare programs aim to make opportunities for full-time employment. So, what was the main objective of the social welfare programs was to provide job employments to the people, then health care, education and development available to all Indian citizens. Then Indian society is riddled with large scale economic, social, educational and cultural inequalities. So as we know that prior it was the caste barrier, class barrier, gender barrier was there. So as a result there was social, economic and political inequality was followed within the country. However, it is necessary that the opportunities for development reach women, children, the differently abled, the scheduled caste and the tribes as well as other minorities. So it was necessary that whatever are the provisions that are mentioned in the constitution, the opportunities should be reaching to all sectors of the society, including the children, women's and also the differently abled people. So everybody should have an opportunity to earn for his or her own livelihood and to make progress of his or her in the society. So accordingly, this was the greatest challenge facing the government during the post-independence period. And that is why on 14th June 1964, the government of India constituted the Ministry of Social Welfare. Now, what was which programs were undertaken under this ministry? Various programs were implemented for nutrition and child development, social security and social protection, women's welfare and development, and even similar arrangement exists at the state level too. So in this way, the main objective was to provide all kind of opportunities to the people and bring about an upliftment in the society. So this was the first part of the lesson that we have learned. The next part we shall continue in our next class. We shall stop for the day. Thank you, children.